Hey guys, got a washer we're going to be replacing the shocks on. It's a Samsung washer. These are notorious for the shocks going bad after just a few years. And so I'm going to give you some tips, break it down for how to do it step by step. It's a pretty easy process. Honestly, the hardest part is shelling out the money for the new shocks. But I'll show you how to do it. Like I said, it's fairly simple, fairly easy. Just a few steps and we'll get you fixed up and good to go. Now the first step in this process is to make sure that the shocks are the actual issue. And how we're going to do that is with what I call the two-finger test or the basketball test. And what you want to do is you have to reach down in here and we're going to push on this basket with just 2 fingers, or you can use your hand if you got a smaller hand. But see how that's bouncing around like that? It's not supposed to do that. You shouldn't be able to move that at all. See with this room here, let me give it a real good one. I should not be able to do that. That should be stiff, firm. I can press as hard as I want. I should not be able to move it. And if I really put all my weight into it, I might be able to budge it just a little bit. But this bouncing, that's how you can tell that the actual shocks are bad. Now what happens here is a lot of people go on Amazon and they buy the $40, $50 pair, all 4 shocks, and they'll put them in. Maybe it'll run good for one load, maybe it won't. But if they repeat this test afterwards, what they're gonna find is the new shocks from Amazon, the aftermarket cheap ones, they're just as bad. They come bad out of the box now. Now that didn't used to be the case. So you'll see 3 or 4 star reviews on these products from reviews that are 4 or 5 years old now. But I have tried every shock known to man from Amazon. They're all junk. You have to get OEM. PartsDoctor.com, AppliancePartsPros.com, or Sears. You can get OEM shocks. They're expensive, but they do the trick. They're going to allow your machine then to work good for the next few years. Now, the reason these shocks go bad so fast is because people overload the machines. They fill it all the way up and they pack the clothes in and they let it rip. And they always have it on the highest, fastest setting. That's not how these machines were intended to be used. You never want to fill it up more than 3/4 the way full, which is about right here. And you cannot jam pack it in there. You have to lightly string the clothes around the center plate here, as if it had an agitator. You go around stacking them up till it gets to about here, lightly packed, okay? Right about there. That's how you can run these machines and make sure that they don't get overused, overloaded, and your shocks don't prematurely fail on you. So a couple little tips there for you. All right, now the first thing we have to do is there's 2 black little rubber pieces. We're gonna pluck those out, and there's a Phillips head screw. One here, and one right over here. Same spot on the other side. We're gonna take those out. There's one, and there's 2. All right, next step is we're gonna turn this around here and get to the back. Show you some screws we gotta take off on the back. Make sure you can see that back here. Screws off the back side. Now we're gonna pop this off. Okay, that little plastic piece pops off like that. Okay, now that we've done that, the easiest way to get that off is actually kind of grab it from the front here. Put your hands right here and you're gonna kind of pull up and towards yourself. It's gonna pop up like this. Because what we have to get to get this off here is we have to get to this screw and this screw. They hold the back side on. Hopefully you can see that here. This screw right here and this screw down in here. Now, probably safest thing to do is go ahead and just take this out. You just pull that plug out, and you can lift this away and put it somewhere safe where it doesn't get scratched up. That off. So I'm just gonna undo that screw and let's put the screw right back in there. It's just a little green, can't see it probably, but just a little green ground cable. Under here, you want to be careful when you lift this up. See that clear hose right there? You don't want to slice that, and you don't want to break that cable there either. Okay, so we just want to be very careful as we maneuver this here and just kind of move it and get it out of the way so we can access the shocks. Okay, so now in order to get this thing off, we're not actually going to take the whole thing off. We want to be able to lift it up and swing it this way and kind of over off the edge here. But in order to do that, we've got to disconnect that little yellow cable there. And it's got a little, let's see if I can show you here. It's got a little plug right there that we can disconnect. So you just have to reach down in there, push the little clip, and it pulls right off. So we're going to do that. Actually had two connectors on it. They split, and you just push the little retainer here and pull. Same thing, push and pull, pops right up. Okay, so on the back, in order to get this thing to swing off, there are two ground cables on this side, and here's the one that was on this side. So that's kind of what's anchoring this down here on the back side. So we'll go ahead and take those off, and I recommend just putting the screws back in without the wires on, so that way you don't lose those screws. Now just leave these little wires hanging like that. Now we can lift this up and swing it over like this. Just kind of be careful with it. There we go. I should be able to get to everything with it just like that. Just kind of careful. That's not too much pressure on this. There's nothing here sharp that'll cut that. Same thing here. Just kind of out of my way. Okay, now on the actual shocks themselves, you can kind of get a better idea how bouncy this is just by barely pushing on it. And you'll see once we put the new shocks in how much better it is. See that? All four of these are bad. You never just want to try to replace one shock. You want to replace all four at the same time. Unless a shock is broken or damaged or bent, or you're removing it and something happened to one of them. But check it out. This is actually going to be pretty easy, because you see that little slot there on the right hand side where the shock goes in? That's actually going to allow us to remove this pretty easily. And we don't have to tilt the machine over and get to each one individually. So I'm going to show you just how easy it is once you have the new shocks to pop this out and pop a new one on. Alrighty, so here we go. This is you probably paid 30, 40 bucks for 4 of these on Amazon. You see they probably added some extra grease here, which you don't need to do. I don't know about what's going on down here, but these are they're sticky, they're nasty, they're junk. Now look at the difference between what's supposed to be on there. Okay, you can see your different colors. Samsung uses different colors like that. And look at the thickness in the rod too. Huge difference. Huge difference. Okay, so this is why you pay more for these shocks, because they're better, thicker, more resistant, gonna last longer. So now we're gonna reverse what we did a minute ago. And I'm going to start by lifting this up, and I'm just going to reach this down, and it'll just slide right into the little notch down there. I pull it back up, and we're just going to lift it up and drop it in. That's how easy it is. Okay, That's how easy it is. All right, let's get the other one. All right, we're going to take a look on this last one here because they've got some stuff attached to it. And you can see they've got the white hose wrapped around it, and then that's got a little spot for it right there on the actual thing. So that's what it looks like. So we just have to make sure we do that with a new one. And it just takes a little finagling, but should be pretty easy to do. Just take note of that. All right, so I did have to disconnect the clear hose. I'm actually going to pull it out. It just pops off the bottom there. Just have to make sure. Don't forget to put it back on. Got a little peeper on the side. I'm just unwinding it from the shock. Okay, now we can pull the shock out. Now I'm just going to reverse what I did. Let's seat this thing in place. I will just fully put it in place. Get it a little easier. Come on, get in there. Gotta go up high enough to get past that plastic. There we go. Okay, now it's in there. Now I'm just gonna reach back down in here. I'm gonna clip this white keeper that's got the yellow cord all wrapped around it. That clips back on, and I'm just gonna wrap this hose back around the shock. All I have to do is plug it back in to the tub where it came off there. There's only one spot it can go on. So I could see how this might be a pain in the butt for somebody who's never done this before. Just have to be diligent, be careful, make sure you're getting stuff back on the way you took it off. Okay, it's on there. Okay, that's good to go. What this little clear hose is, it's an air pressure sensor. Leads up to this switch right here. So as it fills up with water, it sends pressure up this and tells this switch when it's full of water. If you forget and you don't put that back on there, the washer will just fill up and keep filling and overflow and flood everything. So make sure this doesn't come off when you're doing this up top here, that it's still connected, and that it's connected down there as well. If you take it off, got to make sure it gets put back on. Super important. And everything there is good to go. It's got a little keeper on the end of it too, so it keeps it in place. So it's kind of hard to pull off. You don't really have to, I didn't have to squeeze it. It's the type where you squeeze to release, but it just pretty much pulls off and pushes right back on. So good to go there. It's wrapped back around. Everything is now put back the way I took it off. All right, so now these new shocks in, check this out. This is me trying to bounce it like I was before. Yep, 2 fingers does absolutely nothing. All of my weight here does nothing. That's how it should look. That's how it should work. You should not be able to bounce it around. Okay, so this is fixed. Now we're just going to reverse our steps to put it back together. So we're just taking into account this stuff here. Just make sure you don't pinch, smash, or chop anything there. We're going to lift this up. Slide it back around. Got these little connectors here. They need to go back down. Okay, and this sits on top. Oh, we're sitting on the cord over here. Okay. Everything's got its little place here. I'm going to check this air pressure sense switch, and I can see that the hose did not come off. It's still on there. It's good to go. We've got this piece we can't forget about. All right, so I'm going to come over here and lift this up again. Just going to reach down in here and hook these back up. Now we're going to reattach those ground screws on the back here. Oh yeah, that came off the back panel. Okay. These don't go on any particular way. It doesn't matter as long as they reach and they're grounded. You're good to go. Okay, that's 2 on this side, 1 on the other side. Okay, now we're going to turn the machine around so you can see what I'm about to do on the back side again. Now we're just putting things back together. Now your 2 biggest, longest screws are going to be the ones that you took out on the back side here. Okay, you're going to get your top console piece. You're going to plug this back in like so. Front kind of goes on first here, drops down, locks in just like that. Remember to get your little yellow cable, just pushes back in here. Okay, only goes in one way. Snaps back together. Here to kind of hold it down. Okay, now we're back together. This little piece. Never mind, I don't know where that came from. And can't forget the screws on the front. Give a little little tug here. Make sure it's tight. Get your little rubber keepers. They just push back down in there. All right, and now your washer is fixed up, put back together, and ready to rock and roll. You've got nice stiff shocks in here. Reach in, cannot budge it, and your machine's good to go. Guys, I hope this helps somebody out. If you're trying to figure out how to do this and not go spend $1,000 on a new machine, a couple $100 you can get away with replacing your own shocks. If I didn't run in the video, I could probably done this in 20 minutes. So, yeah. Hopefully you found this valuable, useful. If so, please share it and like, subscribe. That way we can get this free information out to everyone who could use it. Save a little time, save a little money. This job here would have cost you about $550 if you had called my appliance repair company and asked for someone to come out and fix it. So I don't do that anymore. I do this now. Giving you information for free that you can use, and we can all kind of help each other out, save some time, save some money. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.